Nick called the store owner, desperately asking for a car, but the owner's voice remained calm and eerie. He revealed a dark secret about the land. Before the mansion was built, this place had once been a mysterious church, a church that collected the souls of the guilty. Anyone who had sins to atone for could never escape from here. Even after the church was demolished, the land continued to trap evil souls. With no other choice, Nick and his daughter decided to leave on foot. As they stepped out, his daughter turned back and saw a dark shadow lurking inside the house. After walking for hours, they finally saw a light in the distance. Hopeful, they hurried toward it, only to find themselves right back at the mansion. The night air was freezing. If they didn't go inside, they would freeze to death. Left with no other option, they returned to the house, planning to leave again in the morning. Just as they were about to sleep, a blinding white light flashed, as if time and space had shifted. Nick immediately jumped up and searched the house. And then, he saw it. Another version of himself was sitting in the study. Panic took over him. When the other Nick left the room, Nick quickly rushed inside and scribbled a warning in his journal. Leave the house immediately. Suddenly, he found himself back at the moment when they had first arrived at the mansion. He shouted at his past self, begging them not to enter the house. But back then, he couldn't see any of this. As time and space continued twisting, everything became a chaotic blur. Another blinding white flash. Nick was now back in the underground passageway, and standing before him was the old man from his nightmares. The old man looked at him and said, "This place was created just for you, just like the store owner had warned him. Once you come here, you can never leave." But Nick didn't care about anything anymore, except for his daughter's safety. He grabbed a metal rod and swung wildly at the old man. Then, something even more terrifying happened. The old man's face changed. He transformed into Nick himself. He stared at Nick and said, "All of this exists because of you." At that moment, Nick finally broke down. Trembling, he begged the old man not to hurt his daughter. Another flash of white light, the old man vanished. Then, his daughter slowly walked down the stairs. Nick, overwhelmed with guilt, rushed over and held her tightly. As he carried her up the stairs, the mansion returned to normal. Just then, his wife returned, pulling up in her car. Nick finally confessed the truth about his ex-wife's death. That night, he had seen her drowning in the bathtub, but because of their marital problems, he had chosen not to save her. She drowned right in front of him. Though he had escaped legal punishment, his guilt could never be erased. This mansion was a courtroom for the guilty. The innocent could leave freely. But Nick, he would never be able to escape. In the end, he placed his daughter in the car, said his final goodbye to his wife, and watched as they drove away. And the mansion, it was listed online for rent once again.